Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto, and here's where we actually take a deeper dive into everything that I covered during the Crypto Minute. So, Robinhood dropping 7% of their staff. This is the third time in a year that they're having to cut their staff. That ought to tell you something. What it tells me is that, number one, they do not have a handle on their business, right? I think their staffing, their huge growth, everything else, I think that was probably mismanaged. On top of that, and probably more important, is the fact that Robinhood offers services to people that are not as educated in stock purchases and digital asset purchases, right? Now, I want you to think about that. There are better platforms, straight up, period. Okay. You have platform. I'm not going to name any platforms just because I'm not getting paid by anybody, and I don't want to seem like I'm favoring one platform over another. Other than I think there are better platforms than Robinhood for the purchase of digital assets as well as stocks, right? And when you look at their dwindling number of transactions, you can kind of see, well, your business is decreasing. You can't afford to pay everybody. Well, you gotta shed some more people. But you think you would have thought about that a little bit better. You think you'd go about it just from an operational perspective, that you'd go about it more pragmatically and really think about restructuring the organization, restructuring how you're leveraging resources, and maybe, I don't know, market more. I just don't see them marketing as much as you did in the past, and that's actually just compounding everything. Next up, Circle is on the move, and they're moving more than you would think. They're doing more than you think. Jeremy Allaire is in China, or was in China, and he was having a conference. He was at the World Economic Forum over there, and he was speaking with Bloomberg and said, yeah, he believes that that spot Bitcoin ETFs are going to happen. He thinks it's a done deal. And here's why. The reason why is because, regulators had an issue, specifically SEC had issue with some of the things that, they had concerns. And he believes that all of the companies that have filed have addressed those concerns. Now, what I think is also interesting is the fact that Bitcoin has been untouched by the SEC, right? Not a security, which means that you really shouldn't have an issue with a spot Bitcoin ETF, right? And for me, it says a lot, because Grayscale's been at it for a really, really, really long time. And I don't think they've actually gotten real clarity around why the answer is no. They've been given a lot of, well, maybe if you do this, if you do that. I think a lot of these companies have already done it, and it's going to be an issue. 21 Shares, ARK Invest, and CBOE have a SEC decision date of August 13th this year. It's going to be interesting to see what the decision is going to be, right? At least that's how I'm looking at it. Now, furthermore, Representative Maxine Waters, love that woman. She is soliciting input from, the regulators that are out there, especially Gary Gensler, with regard to a new bill that's being put forward that would allow digital asset exchanges to file for registration with the SEC. You heard that. And there are tons of articles out there that you can read. I want you to let that wash over you for a minute, because what that says is Gary lied, right? He said, oh, it's easy. All you got to do is register with us. That's all you got to do. This bill kind of screams that there is no way, definitely no easy way, to actually register with the SEC. Doesn't that make you scratch your head? That means, Gary, dude, yeah, I mean, you're so under the table, it's not even funny. But somebody please fire this guy. Just fire him and revamp the SEC. I believe there is a necessity for the SEC to exist. I just think that current management, Gary Gensler and his supports, I I think they need to go. I think there needs to be, a clean house, a clean direction, and move on from there. Because I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You're chasing business away from the United States. That's not your job. That's not your job. That's not what that agency is all about. You know. Meanwhile, you have countries like China that's doing, CBDCs. They just did the digital yuan as a CBDC. Their clearinghouse is doing that. You have HSBC Hong Kong actually adding support. They just launched support for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. You have the Swiss National Bank launching a CBDC, and they're doing it differently. They're not doing just a regular pilot. They're doing a pilot against real transactions. Now they don't see that, cash is going to go anywhere anytime soon, but they are seriously not just their CBDC, but they're researching digital currencies on a broad scale. That ought to tell you something. I mean, it's Switzerland. You have all of these countries that are saying, yeah, we might be looking at CBDCs, but, there could be issues with that. So we understand that. And we're also looking at, crypto in general. Meanwhile, the United States is sitting on their hands waiting for Gary Gensler to come to his senses or be fired because he's doing such a lousy job, in my humble opinion. Sorry. I just want you to stop and think about that as you continue to do your own research. Something else that caught my attention, Riot Platforms. They're one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining operations, right? They just dropped almost $163 million on about 33,000, a little bit over 33,000 new Bitcoin mining rigs. I want you to think about this. Not only can those rigs be used for Bitcoin mining, but they can also be used for artificial intelligence. Now, that latter one is probably not an option. I mean, it is an option, but it's probably not a choice, rather, right? But that's really interesting because what does that say to me? It says that Bitcoin is here to stay, crypto is here to stay. Period. Hands down. And if that's the case, if you look at everything that's going on, if you just landed on the planet, today, and you just look at everything that's going on around digital assets for the past month, just 30 days, right? There's a lot that's going to tell you that cryptocurrency is here to stay. The infrastructure is growing, becoming more solid, becoming more tried and true. The use cases are there. The privacy controls are there. CBDCs, not so much, right? Not so much. They literally know who they gave this to and how much was given to them. So they can literally track every single dollar. Yes, every dollar has its own ID and everything else like that, but it's not actually recorded. So whatever dollar you're holding in your pocket, the government doesn't know that you have that specific dollar. But that would not be the case with the CBDC, which is why countries are testing CBDCs, but they're quite cognizant of those privacy issues that are going on. Anyway, you know what we should do? We should go over the numbers. And let's refresh this real quick. It's been a few minutes since I last refreshed. And let's see, right here, only two are above a move. Near protocol dropped 7%. Who else is on this list? Stacks dropped 5%, but you know my 5% rule. It's all about the sway. Helium, don't really believe in helium, but HNT had some noise back in the day, but then they ran into a lot of trouble. I don't know where they're at right now. It's not something that's on my radar. Algorand down 5%. I find that to be odd. Who else was on here? There was another one. No, Uniswap is down, yeah, but it's basically side by side or lateral movement. ApeCoin is down, but again, lateral movement. Looking over here on the plus side, let's see. Bitcoin Cash. Everybody writes off Bitcoin Cash as being a nothing burger, but it's in the top 25. I don't know how much of a nothing burger it is. You know, I mean, even my web hosting platform, when you want to do e-commerce, if you want to accept crypto, Bitcoin Cash is one of your choices. I don't know that it's not. I don't know that it's not significant. Pepe is up 7%. It's ranked number 64 on the charts. Just saying, that's something to pay attention to. Anybody else on here? Waves is up 5%. Let's see, Stellar, number 29, is up 4%. Again, not within my 5% rule, but I'm also a person that's paying attention day to day and sometimes intraday, right? To see what that movement is, because remember, it's a moving percentage. So if I look at it today at what time is it? At 7:09 a.m. and I look at it tomorrow at 7:09 a.m., that's a 24-hour swing. Is it on this list or this list? And that's the kind of swing that I'm looking for. I'm also going to take a pinpoint from today's number when I look at tomorrow's number, and I'm going to say, well, what was that? What was the actual genesis? Because remember, today's number is based on 24 hours ago. So these are the things I'm looking at. So I might do an hourly when I'm looking at numbers and everything, just to give you ideas about how you can do your own research and things that you could be looking at that might give you an idea about what's going on. Next up on the big board, you have ETH at 1880. Yes, it's below the 1900, but it's far above the 1800 that I wanted to achieve and maintain, right? Bitcoin is above 30,000 and staying strong above 30,000. 30,006 is nothing to be sneezed at. It really isn't. That's actually a very big deal. We're in striking distance of, the 31,580. That's striking distance from there. I mean, look at where we are. We're still within my green band, but you're at the upper level of that green band. We're starting to move laterally, which means that, yes, we got some highs, we got some profit taking, and we're going to wind up going up again. There could be a little bit more profit taking, but I think we're right on the cusp. And that cusp could actually be July. I mean, I have to dig in a little bit more, but I'm gearing up for a July pump. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for July to get me. If it can get me to 35,000, I'll have a couple of wallets that I'll probably shave a little bit off, right? Shave some profits so when it comes back down, I can buy back in. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. DeFi Llama, still in the $57 billion TVL range, total value locked in terms of staking. Fear and Greed Index is at 59. Yesterday is at 55. I'm seeing positivity. Remember, before we were all crunched down. We were all the way down in the fear sections, right? We were all the way down there for a really long time. And I told you we had a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy that was kind of cooped up. But now you're starting to see that energy kind of pop out with different institutions, growing retail investors. Yes, we have a ton of institutions that are getting in, but you have a growing amount of retail investors that you should not be sleeping on. Anyway, just thought I'd put all that out there, show you what I'm researching today, what's on my mind today. If you don't pay attention, I'm going to tell you something. I don't just do the videos, but I write small articles about each one of the topics that I'm doing. And you can see it over on that other platform, something with a tube or something like that. But that's where you can see my write-ups, and pretty soon you'll see my write-ups on my own platform. Anyway, this is Eddie J on Crypto. I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, please let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.